kind of too tanky to get straight up bursted, and this Tombstone anchoring the fight that Earth Spirit has to commit to along with Tree, it's a really tough problem to figure out. I think Doom is also pretty bad versus Undyne in a lot of aspects. I think the lane can be bad if he ends up laning versus him, and I think Undyne is a hero that prolongs the fight with heals, Tombstone to kite people, his ult to kite to get the damage amp, and that's a rough situation for Doom. We already see Moose starting with boots, so he's expecting this lane to be a little rough on the early waves, which is what I would expect.
30 seconds to battle.
What are we thinking in terms of just timing coming out for both sides of these teams?
I mean, you know, we have Sven getting going on.
Yeah, already.
But I think he's chill.
I think he's fine. He's by the tower.
I think every time you play Sven, you want a game like last game. You want to have free farm in the lane, get as high a level as possible. If you can ever get solo XP on this hero, it's really nice. Get those ancient stacks, get to them with that level 8 to 10 timing with the Mask of Madness plus another item. Accelerate to your blink into your BKB. That's what you're really looking for. I think Dire, it's kind of a similar story to last game where I feel like Gunnar is on this position 3 mid role, and Doom and PA are really the two heroes that are going to anchor their lineup, scale into that mid game, into the late game, and really take the brunt of where's our damage coming from. This Earth Spirit doesn't have to output that much damage in the late game fights if his PA and Doom can pick it up.
I was about to ask, because it feels like this is something very Zoomer. We don't usually see the mid taking that more of a 3-position role. But is this just something because they have such faith in Moo on these particular heroes?
I think it's a part of a couple things. I think Moo is a player that likes to farm. He likes to shove waves, get really fat, kind of control and dictate the way the map flows. I think that's when he excels. And I also think Gunnar is a player that can play this 2.5, 2 to 3 hybrid, whatever you want to call it, pretty well, because he's kind of a natural space maker. He likes to make these ganks and rotations. And if you're the straight up 2 when you make those rotations like we saw in the first 2 games and they don't work out, it's super punishing. As we see a first blood here on the Mars.
But speaking of punishing, he was sitting very low for a while there and not opting to move back at all. So not too surprising to see him fall with that dagger.
But just to quickly finish that point, when you're kind of this 2.5 or 3 mid and you make those moves and they don't work out, it's not nearly as punishing because you still have 2 other cores farming and they're shoving the waves and they're picking up the slack of the map. I'm also glad they put this Treant up here with the PA. I was thinking about mentioning it. I think the lane synergy with the Leech Seed and the aggressive potential of these early nukes with the PA being able to jump in and utilize that is really nice. I like this lane a lot more than, for example, the Lion PA that I feel like it's just kind of overlappy and there's not as much scale to the lane as it progresses. But this Treant PA lane can progress super nicely, and I think that's how you want this PA hero to function. Get some early kills and snowball the regen of the lane.
You can see that they're kind of just making their own lanes over in the bottom area. Moo cutting the wave here. And a little bit of just some creep pulling off to the side, but mid lane, pretty quiet for the most part. Shaggy, bit ahead here in terms of CS.
He should win this mid lane pretty hard. Level 2 dagger versus a melee hero. It's going to be rough for Gunnar in the early game, but I've seen him play a lot of these types of games, and he can squeak his way out sometimes. If one of his moves works or he gets some crazy rune, he can come back. And again, the game is not on his shoulders to scale, but it is in some sense for him to be that initiator and the catch guy. So if his game is slow, Zoomers might not have that many moves or abilities to open up the map or open up the tempo of the game that well. It's a pretty slow game plan for them.
I mean, that was the conversation that we were having a few days ago, talking about, you know, you've got Doom, he's very powerful, he's going to have a lot of net worth, but you need to be able to have some way to open up these fights because you don't always necessarily want him to be the one initiating. And then you also have to make sure that you're holding him in place when you go on that Doom target. So it seems like Gunnar, you know, going to probably fulfill the role of being that main initiator because, you know, Husky on the Lion, I mean, you do have some other options, right? You could use the tree, but it just seems like that's the simplest solution, and simplicity is a beautiful thing in Dota.
Yeah, I mean, the tree pick can do a lot of work this game. I think we're already seeing it on the lane. He's giving a great head start to his PA. They hit level 3, level 2 Leech Seed, instantly go in. This is really nice.
This is a dead denial, I think. If they can get one more hit off on him.
Really close.
Zfig's pretty fast.
Yeah, he couldn't get the last dagger. But these traits... Oh, got it.
Doesn't need a dagger when you can blink like that.
I guess
Takes a little bit of some tower damage here.
Leech Seed.
I think they can really go for the dive if they wanted to. Dagger comes in. And that's another kill for the Phantom Assassin.
This is what I love to see when I play with a PA in the safe lane. I think you want to take advantage of the fact that this hero can be really aggressive. Use this early Orb of Corrosion. I don't like the games where these PAs just go Orb of Corrosion and they don't use it aggressively. They don't abuse the early daggers, the early regen trades with a nice 5 that can enable it. Because I feel like this item doesn't really help you progress to your Battle Fury plus your next item that much faster, and it is an expensive item. But when you're getting kills like this and he's already 700 gold above the spend at 4 minutes, then it pays off.
Zoomer's catching yet another kill here to help accelerate them forward. With the kill on Jubei in the bottom lane. Gunnar sitting a little bit low here. He's got a lot of those shadow strikes. He should fall, though he's trying to bottle through. A couple of these clicks rolling forward. Is it going to be enough? He doesn't have any more charges. He's going to eventually tick down. A slow death is sometimes the most painful one.
Well, he almost made it back to base, so he got the last few yards taken care of, you know? But this Queen of Pain is, Shaggy's doing pretty well. He's up 1,000 gold in the first 5 minutes in the matchup, and he's going to hit level 6 while Gunnar's still level 4. And Gunnar's going to have to respawn and TP out. And again, like that first game, that's another minute where his TP might not be up for some play if, for example, he were the early level 6. So that's why these lane matchups, they matter.
Speak of the devil, and he shall appear as he rolls up top and is hoping that they can make something happen with this rotation, right? Giant, though he's a bit tanky, that they have Leech Seed. Stabile will be able to help that kill. And there we go, you know. Gunnar, he just hates sitting in that lane for too long. Nice Earth Spike coming out from Husky, trying to keep me alive. Should be fine. It's funny, because it almost reminds me a little bit of the way that Eternal Envy used to play, when he used to play mid. The way that he used to just constantly, you know, start seeking out and moving around. Although, a little
Not
bit...
just mid, any role.
I
can say that because I played with him.
That's very true. My favorite is when he would TP to a lane, die, and then immediately go back to that lane.
When these plays work and you don't have another option in the game, they're very nice. If you force them all the time, the odds are most of them aren't that efficient. I think that play was okay for Gunnar. He ends up getting a haste rune too, which is really nice. But again, there's a trade-off, right? The kill doesn't do much for him directly. It's not that much gold or XP, and it's giving Quab free reign.
Ooh, that was a nice Earth Spike kicking Jubei away, but don't quite have enough damage to finish up here. Giant in the top lane. The harass is still continuing as Z-Freak gets some of those body blocks off. A couple more hits over onto Giant. He's going to try to bulwark a little bit of this damage, but he's just getting punched to death here by a tree, by an assassin. They're going to make him work for it here. So they do manage to get the spear off to now, making his own rotation as a Cursed Crown, but I don't think they're going to be able to do more than just chase away the Phantom Assassin for this time.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing this top lane pretty well.
Just going right back in again.
Abusing the level advantage they have, the regen trade that they got. Z-Freak going for an early Bassi, and he's basically level 5 now, so his itemization paid off, I guess. I'm not a huge fan of the Bassi, like Rush, but if you're getting kills with it, it is going to be efficient over the very long term. So he's having a great game. When you get super high on Treant early in these games, you feel like a god.
I feel like that's Shaggy's job, but that's a whole other type of thing. Gonna roll on out here. They're putting a little bit of vision into the jungle, trying to keep tabs on, you know, any sort of farming that's gonna be coming out of the side of black and yellow, because you know they're gonna want to do some stacking.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
It's a nice smoke play. It's going to connect.
Yes, indeed. Shaggy jumping forward here with that scream. Not even gonna need to use that ultimate as they just click down Costabile.
He doesn't even have it skilled. Knows he doesn't need it. All about that 4 points in the dagger early on.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
I think this kill was not necessary, but it's definitely a big swing in the game because this top lane was a lot of momentum for Dire, and this PA was getting pretty far ahead. So being able to come up here, kill this hero, get your Mars to level 6. When this PA comes back, now she has to lane versus a level 6 Mars, and that's an entirely different level of damage output, right? So she might not be able to play as aggressive because you go on this Mars now, you might just arena spear you and someone TP's in, and suddenly you're the one dying instead of the other way around.
It's a good way to staunch the bleeding a little bit, just because they were having so many issues in that that top lane. But
and he just decides to go bottom. He doesn't even want to go back up there.
I think that's smart.
Trying to help take this tower, but they're afraid of the rotation.
They are having a rotation coming in anyways here, as you can see Shaggy and Jubei creeping over, trying to get some information. Sepulé is here. Dunal's not really the target he wants, although the roll in over here, over onto Shaggy. He's gonna blink forward. He'll drop that Bramble Maze, but they did leave behind a friend, and it looks like Jubei is going to be the sacrificial lamb. This will take him out. They'll go for that Tombstone. Curse Crown landing over onto 3.
I mean, the fight looks good in some sense. You know, he's a level 5 Dirge. It's a pretty early level 3 Tombstone, but they just don't have the numbers. Zoomers had 5 heroes at that fight. The Mars doesn't want to TP and just run to something that might not even be an actual engagement. So they're just going to have to cut their losses and run. But Zoomers aren't getting too much out of that, right? It's not like they got some crazy tier 1 push or a team wipe or anything like that. And this Mars is, he's hitting top through the Treant armor, but he's hitting it.
I felt like it was just trying to punish them for being too far overextended into their area more than anything else. But like you said, they didn't get any objective off of it, so not quite as valuable. They do get the Doom off, though, over on Mars, and they've got plenty of damage. They're going to try... Nope, not going to be able to get that denial as Jubei is forced away. Shaggy is here. They could turn this around. Scale the ultimate. Jump forward over onto Gunner. Pull forward the kick. And they're going to try to hex him, hold him into place. There's spike. Did Shaggy bite off more than he could chew? I would say yes, he did, as they'll roll forward now. A little bit of that damage coming out from the Shadow Realm Gunner. Rolling around. He's got some little bit here. Can he kick back over into Jubei? Can he stay alive long enough? He's going to try to roll a little bit deeper into the woods. Jubei hunting over as well. It's going to be a double kill now for Moo. Gunner, again, rolling forward, trying to just dodge away from this Dark Willow. Dunal wants this kill. He wants it so badly. But he's not gonna get it. Moo gets himself a triple kill in the trees.
This fight was closer than it looked, but, you know, Shaggy blinked in. He gets bursted at the first instant of the fight. He's all of their early game damage output along with this Mars. So basically they're missing the 2 cores for that fight. And it still got dragged on for pretty long, right? These subs are pretty strong in these early skirmishes. And I think those are the type of fights that Black and Yellow wants to be taking, especially around these tier 1s where they can abuse the Tombstone vision. No one can really kill this Tombstone. It takes them a while, but if your 2 big damage dealers are dead and they get to kill it for free, then you're going to have fights that look like that. But the idea is fundamentally correct, I think. It's just the execution not there that time.
All right, well, they're going to try to go for a round 2, it seems, as they are smoked up on the side of Black and Yellow. And they have an idea of who's in there, because they've got the scouting coming out here from Dunal, just bling forward, coming out from Shaggy. They've got the Curse Crown on Moo. And wait patiently, the Bedlam used as well, and that is a dead Doom. That'll open up this top portion of the map for Black and Yellow.
Yep, Sven cleared an Ancients. He gets to use his God Strength to come up here and take a tier 1. So both him and PA are having pretty decent games. Doom is the highest net worth in this game. He's 5-1, had a pretty free lane. He got a kill on the lane on the Dirge. The Dirge just kind of left afterwards. So this Doom, he's scaling in this game. He had a pretty early Midas. He's going to have BKB in the next 2 minutes if he gets to just hit some creeps and eat some creeps and Midas some creeps. And
he's got a lot of creeps in his future, it sounds like.
Yep.
Well, go put a little damage over on the Mars, but I mean, that's what you want to see, right? You want to see your Doom having this good time because he has so many ways of just being able to get that gold. And if he starts to fall behind, you start to get a little concerned about it.
Yeah, you want him. This is a game where you want the Doom to be getting fat and picking up the slack for the PA, so his PA doesn't have to be the only hero jumping in and killing everybody in the fight. Because Radiant has some tools to prolong these fights. Mars is not the easiest hero to burst down sometimes through the bulwark. You get this Tombstone down, you get some Soul Rips going. There's some Willow spells, you know, just some annoying-ass brambles and stuns that make it so you can't hit people. Somebody gets terrorized. The fight's going to go on for a while. So multiple sources of damage are pretty important. Because this PA can get bursted. If she ever ends up in a spear or something, and this Bedlam gets on top of her, she's going to evaporate.
They do have to make a hard committal for these towers, though, when you have a Treant Protector on the enemy team. So they do have to focus pretty hard, but does build a little bit more space for the side of the Zoomers, even though they are losing some of these buildings.
Yeah, and it's a pretty nice use of this Undying to force it. I think it's a fight that normally Zoomers would want to take. They have a Veil on a Treant with a lot of early damage spells, and this Lion has Finger. both their subs want to fight. In fact, they're smoking now. But this Dirge is tricky. If he gets his ult and Tombstone off, it's going to be difficult.
They're going to try to make some moves early over on Shaggy. Not going to be able to quite land it. Terrorize already coming out. Gunner, he's got the Cursed Crown. He's going to try to roll away and get safety, which he will be able to do.
Nice little disengage. They got the Tombstone pop. And again, this is time that PA and Doom are hitting creeps, right? PA is almost to her Battle Fury. Doom is going to have BKB off this wave. And that's a pretty big timing for them. Doom is going to be incredibly strong, especially if he gets the right target, which is probably going to be this Quap. That's like his biggest goal. If Quap ever blinks in, he gets a Doom on her. She's just so much of their early game damage output until this Sven starts to want to join the fights, right? Which could be with this Blink, which he's pretty farmed as well. But they do have Overgrowth to deal with him. And it's going to be a reliable way to deal with him for a while, because he needs his next item to be able to get out of that, likely the BKB. But he blinks in, he goes on a target, he gets Overgrowth, that guy gets armored. It's a pretty nice way for Zoomers to take the fight, because then it's anchored around Black and Yellow jumping into them, instead of them having to go into this Tombstone, into this Quapple, into the Willow spells, right? So I think it's okay for Zoomers to try and find that defensive fight, but I think they should still take it if it comes to them.
There's some movement coming around here in this top lane. Rises. It's backing. That they go. They use the Doom. They found themselves a Mars, so that way they'll be able to try to just take out this arena. But a little bit of a split fight here. Mars eventually talling down to Moo. Z-Freak also going to get cut down by Rises. Husky falling to Shaggy, using a big old Sonic Wave. That was a very all over the place kind of fight.
Yeah, Z-Freak got caught on the back by the Sven, and his Overgrowth was on cooldown, so he's just got solo kill basically.
Gunner rolling on it. Stabile is joining into the fight, though. The Silence over to now. They're not going to be able to quite finish it off. They try to go in for the Terrorize. Not going to be able to do it. Gunner silenced up with that Orchid. He will be the next one to fall. And now they'll follow up. Can they kill Moo? He's a big tanky boy, but he doesn't have anyone else here just yet. Husky, though, joining into the fight for a bigger kill coming out from Husky, as they'll be able to take down Jubei, and they'll be able to take control of this area yet again.
Those types of skirmish fights, when they can get it with this Tombstone down, are pretty nice for Zoomers. We saw this high ground Tomb in the middle of the fight as well, and Jubei's at the end of his ult here, you know, trying to get some punches off as many people as he can. But the Zoomers are respawning in both their subs. I think it was a nice re-engage here. Good awareness of the fact that, hey, they don't have many spells, no Quap ult, no Tombstone. We're going to have 5 heroes versus their 3 or 4. Mars can't even get there. It's a nice way to regain your jungle, maybe get a D-ward off it. And again, they're getting to their timing. This Doom is pretty farmed, and anytime PA can get kills off a fight to accelerate her to her next items, it's where this hero shines. Because her power spikes in terms of damage output are really strong, but you can't be behind with them in a sense. And she's on a great pace here to, at some point, just be able to jump any of the supports, or even this Mars who's pretty low net worth, and just blow them up.
I feel like it's the draft that we're seeing coming out from Zoomers is very much, I don't want to say a snowball draft, but you only are allowed so many deaths before you really just start to struggle very, very hard. Sort of similar to like, you know, like a TA, right? You want to get those kills, you want to get that momentum, stay ahead, because if you start to fall behind, you just become more of a liability than anything else.
Yeah, that can be true. Depends a lot on the relative net worths, right? Like in this game, we see the Earth Spirit and the Mars are pretty low. They're both, again, kind of the 3s in this game. And it's a question of whoever wins the next few fights, that third hero is going to be able to pick up more of that net worth burden. The other might just fall too far behind to be relevant in the game for a while. And so when you're talking about going late game, a lot of times it's about how many heroes can have an impact on the fight, and not just necessarily about who's the strongest carry in the game, right? So it'll be interesting to see how these next few fights go. I could see Black and Yellow trying to just force a Roshan with the Dirge spells and the Sven God Strength. So I think it's a pretty nice fight for them if they force Zoomers to try and go into their anchor points, right?
Right, that's exactly what you were saying earlier in some of the other games, is that you don't want to go seeking the fight, you want to make them come to you and be forced into it. And I think, like you said, the positioning with having the Undying being able to set up, have a good tombstone, really makes it very difficult then for the Zoomers to contest.
They might feel like they need this Sven BKB to force a fight like that around a big objective, which I can see an argument for, because his overgrowth is pretty annoying for him that Trine isn't dealt with. And meanwhile, they're chipping this top tier 2, but it just gets Trine armored, so they're not gaining much map control. And if the map is static, Doom is usually winning, right?
Right.
Because he has multiple GPMs, basically. The Midas, the Devour. So he's pretty happy to just kind of keep accelerating.
Well, they don't have a way to really deal with him at this time without making, you know, a full dedication to it. That's not something that Black and Yellow really wanted to be doing, so Moo's just going to continue to accelerate.
Yep. And he's going with the Alpha Wolf, which is pretty nice for his PA.
Look at this vision. Look at the way that they're playing around here. Zip back. They'll find Z-Freak. Moo still waiting patiently, though, but they do drop the arena. The rolling coming out from Gunner. Get that doomed. It's just clicking away. Finger spell coming out. It's going to be Kosabale, though, who gets the final hit, and the BKB has been pushed out from Moo. So just going to walk away from the Tomb Zone. They've used it, and they're more than happy to just have it on cooldown, like we said. BKB getting picked up now for PA. God, this team is, like, loaded.
Yep. He's the boss of the game right now. They are in a decent enough position that this Tombstone arena that's, you know, trying to anchor them in. Sven doesn't feel confident enough to join the fights, and he's the majority of their damage, so these dire cores just feel comfortable engaging and disengaging at their whim, right? There's nothing really killing them on top of these spells that are holding them in place.
They look like they want to make a wrapping play here. PA has a double damage bottle. They find themselves the Sven. They're going to just immediately blow him up as they'll take him out. They'll take down Denao. Gunner clicking away over onto Jubei. Jubei's fairly tanky, but they have the spear. Oh, never mind. He is not tanky when you've got a big ol' hit like that coming in hot.
And that is a Roshan, because PA has a double damage rune. She didn't even use for those kills. She's just so confident.
Didn't even need it.
I mean, when Sven gets jumped and doomed before he can get anything off.
Well, that's the ideal situation, like
Yeah.
Panna was saying. If he can't get that God Strength off, he's just scared. He can't do anything.
Yep. There's not much to pick up the slack at this point in time. I almost feel like he should have tried to join fights with the blink timing and kind of push the agency with the early sup strengths in this Willow and Undying. Because I do think their spells were really strong early on in this game, but they never really got to use them.
I think that was worth it. What do you think?
Yep, that's definitely worth it. Anytime Earthspear gets to kill a core, it's pretty happy. And like I said, he's going to start to accelerate in the net worth because these little fights and Roshans and skirmishes are going his way. So he's going to pick up the slack. It's going to be pretty nice for him. Z-Freak has a blink on top of his Veil. Level 13. He is a monster in these fights. He's basically going to get a guaranteed overgrowth on 3, 4, maybe even 5 people. That'd be pretty spicy. Though he doesn't have the blink yet.
It's coming. It's coming. But yeah, that is fairly terrifying as they go for a smoke play over on Black and Yellow, and they do spot out, so they'll find themselves 2 kills right off the bat with Rises here. Z-Freak and Husky obliterated as Rises still trying to find the opening. Gunner being able to roll away. Be able to do some kiting. They know he's still there. Doesn't have a TP, so he is going to be forward. Oh, they saw that very clearly telegraphed, and they'll be able to clean up on Gunner.
That was a nice blink. I mean, Rises again, finding the multiple hero stuns. He found both subs with the Storm Hammer, insta-kills them both. That's one way to win a team fight, no matter how far you are behind.
That's efficiency, baby.
Yep. So if you can do that every time, it's looking pretty good. Of course, there was no Doom for that fight on CD. And PA went on the backline, but she's not at the point where she's insta-giving heroes, you know?
Right.
I think the next item, then you're gonna start to feel the pain because these subs are super low armor without the Warcry, and this Quap or Mars can also get bursted pretty fast if they get overgrowth or Lion Stun. It's pretty much only this Warcry helping them out, and Warcry doesn't last forever.
It still feels like one of those games where, you know, it all comes down to the execution of the team fight and who gets the jump on who. feels very precarious in some ways because, you know, they're not quite at that full potential, like you said. His Phantom Assassin still takes a bit of time to get those kills, not one-shotting anyone just yet. But with the BKB being picked up now for Shaggy, that should make things a little bit easier for this Quap to be dodging in and out.
Yeah, I think the nature of the fights is, it's interesting because if the script were flipped and black and yellow was the team that was ahead by, you know, 8K in this instance, I think then their heroes are a bit tankier, they have a bit more sustain, and they're the ones who are able to put the onus on for Zoomers in terms of, hey, can you kill our cores? Probably not. Since the script is flipped, Zoomers are ahead. This Treant's just super annoying. The tank ability of Doom with a full Shivas, you're not killing this guy. They got the Shivas and the Deso online. This is a really nice timing for them. Blink on Lion, Blink on Treant. They pretty much have everything they want. BKB coming for Gunner. So they did a triple core strong item timing, and they're just running into the triangle. They should be able to take over the entire map here and look for pickoffs on the sidelines.
All right, so you're playing on black and yellow. What do you tell your team right now? What is the way to play this?
I mean, you have to wait out this Aegis. I don't think you can fight into it, but the flip side is if you're not getting at least 1 or 2 pickoffs and retaking parts of the map, you're getting out-farmed. And you're getting out-farmed pretty heavily because of this Doom, so the fights aren't getting much better for you. You have to kind of find, again, the isolated heroes somehow. This type of engagement can be good for black and yellow.
Looks like they're not going to be able to finish off Duna as quickly as they would have liked, but now they have their hands on Gunner. And they just erase him, so perhaps the Stabile now joining into the fight, but does have the Lion nearby. He's got the BKB, wants to finish off over onto Rises. Not going to be able to quite do it. Can he find the angle? Can he find it here? As he's just juking through the tree line. Needs another hit. The spear comes through. We'll be able to slow him down just a little bit. They'll go for the overgrowth. It's going to be a silence being tossed out again, but it doesn't matter. Giant will fall, and it looks like Jubei is next here to be on the hit list of the Phantom Assassin.
Yep, still has that Aegis for 30 more seconds. They just don't want to commit on her. And we also saw Sven just can't man-fight this hero at this point. PA has a pretty nice... I at least think PA has a pretty nice matchup versus hero, because when that war cries down, you're just a heavy strength melee dude at the end of the day. And PA is going to shred you. You don't really get that evasion piece for a long time either. You have to get to some MKB or Bloodthorn type build, and those are a long ways away, right? So as long as PA can hit her timing like she is in this game, she's slightly up, maybe even. I mean, look at this. It's not even a close fight. She gets the BKB, Rises has to run. This is the type of fight black and yellow wants, where they get a numbers advantage. Zoomers has to run across the map with their Doom. They had the TP in their PA. The Earth Spear got burst instantly, right? Overgrowth isn't really used on Sven. I mean, he's out of the fight. But this is, with a high ground tomb, this is the type of fight they can come back into the game with.
I'm just laughing because I watched Jubei, like, he's like, God, he's got to get out of there fast. He uses the whip on Sven even, just like, go, get out of here, buddy. I'm saying, get down, Mr. President, basically, is what I imagine that whole scenario.
You just spam whip. Whip's just a fun spell, you know. It's got a good animation, a good little sound effect. Just
I make
whip
my own
anybody.
sound. Do you ever have an item where you make your own sound effect, like whenever you use it? Because I know, like I do for the whip, I do my own like "pa-cha" sound like every single time because I really enjoy that.
I don't think I have anything that fancy, but
I wasn't sure. That's why I figured I'd ask. They're now a little bit in a weird position, but you know the follow-up here from Rice is the cleave damage is massive as I take down Z-Freak, but Kostabile just has way too much damage himself. Gets himself a double kill here. Jubei to fall. They buy back. Giants next to fall as well. Mook limping his way out. Shaggy trying to find this opening. But Gunner has the Curse Crown on him. We'll slow down. Kostabile still hunting. He wants his kill. He's not going to be able to get his hands on Shaggy. Not this time, though.
did Z-Freak tank the spear there? It was really hard to see, but I feel like the Doom was about to get chain stunned off the spear into the Stormhammer afterwards, and I feel like the Treant tanked the spear and he got his BKB off and got the Doom off on
Let's
the
take a look here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the Trinity, I don't know if Z-Freak was intentionally trying to tank the sphere, but it's a pretty nice play because it lets this Doom get his Doom and BKB off, and he just walks away. And you know, PA cleans up this fight pretty fast anyway, but it's a pretty heads-up play if you was thinking about it.
Yeah, I can't believe that Doom made it out alive during all of that. It's a lot of damage.
I mean, the Shivas at this early in the game is an insane amount of survivability, plus living armor. He's up to almost 35 armor. It's a lot.
BKB gets popped on Gunner. Husky is nearby, so they could try to make something happen. They could use the ground targeting. Try to get rid of Dunao here as another roll forward, and that's a dead fairy. But Rise is rejoining in. So is Shaggy. Spear back. Gunner silence. This is not looking great for him, but Kasabile jumps forward. He's got that BKB, throws out the dagger. They get the kill on Gunner, but Kasabile on the hunt. He wants more. Moo be able to help clean up over on Jubei. As Giant and the rest of the side of Black and Yellow, they just want to get the heck out of there.
It's a nice high ground tomb, but this PA is just doing too much damage at this
It's
point.
so long to take that down, though, too.
Yeah, it really is. I've sat there and missed that for 10 minutes, you know.
Ooh, that's a long time.
You don't leave it, though. You sit there till it's dead. You sit there until it dies, or they come and kill you. That's your only choice.
That's very metal sounding. Shaggy hiding in this tree line. Sabile, though, looking very ferocious. He's got the backup of Husky. They're gonna back off, though, for now.
I like the Basher pickup, too. Probably pretty standard. Get some iteration of these items. Maybe the Ag sooner or the Basher sooner, but anytime you can stun this Sven in his BKB duration, pretty bad for the hero, because outside of that, and he might even have to just save it for the overgrowth, right? He can't really just blink in, pop BKB, and start hitting people. He gets overgrowth, he gets BKB. If he gets stunned during that, it's basically just fight over, because there's just too much damage on the Zoomer side. Somebody's basically always getting doomed, right?
Yes.
There's no way they can jump and burst this Doom. It's almost impossible. Just too much armor with the overgrowth behind him, some Earth Spirit kick behind him. So this is a tough fight. We'll see how they try and take it. He does have the Silver Edge, so
That could make a big difference.
yeah, if they can find PA and break her, and
They gotta
try
find
all
her,
in
though,
her.
yeah. They gotta find her, and they gotta make sure that they can get close enough to her.
It's no easy task.
I mean, she's right there. She's right there in the pit, but they gotta have their spidey sense tingling, because look at this, they're doing a scan. They don't know.
I do like this wrap, though. This is the way you should approach Roshan fights. Take some weird angle, get the vision. They might not
See?
expect all of it.
Now, okay, they go. They fix up the Aegis. Fear spell being thrown immediately over onto the PA. The roll-in, though, coming out from Gunner. They try to push back. No, the Aegis is going to pop. Gunner now needs some help as Moo joining into the fight. They've got the Magnetize going on. It's doing a lot of damage as Rises is going to be the first one to fall. They'll follow up with Jubei. Next is going to be Giant as Z-Freak. He's got the Cursed Crown on. We'll land over onto 3. It's beautiful, but not going to be enough as they wipe out quite a few of the Black and Yellow boys.
That was just so close to being an amazing fight from them. If that Terrorize hits the PA before Roshan dies and she gets Terrorized back, we saw she died super fast. But unfortunately, it's like a split second too late and she has that Aegis. So I really like how they took this fight. This is exactly how you want to do it. They had the proper angle. They have the high ground tomb. They're baiting the fight into the tomb. The overgrowth's really nice. But at this point, again, it just takes too much of a committal for Sven to kill the PA twice while Doom is just on him. And this Doom, he's the 1.5 this game, right?
He got like no damage on him at all either. This man is so tanky.
Yeah, I really think Moo has been the MVP in this series. I think he played pretty well in all 3 games. I like the way they're using their 3 cores as well. I think Gunner can really shine in this kind of 2.5, 3 role. Maybe they're not intending it. Maybe I'm just like putting, roles on them that they don't really think is the way it's being done. But I think it's actually a good way to use their cores on this team and bounce it out and have that nice playmaking ability that Gunner can bring while not putting too much pressure on him. I think in past teams there's been, he feels like he wants to do a bunch of stuff, and sometimes it can work and sometimes it can backfire really bad. And if all the weight of the game is on your shoulders and it backfires, it's just hard to play like that. You just feel like you're always falling behind, and the second you make a mistake, like how are you going to come back, right? But if you got this Moo guy playing these heavy hitters in the off lane, winning his lane, getting super farm.
And that's definitely a strength with the roster if you're able to make these sorts of things happen, because a lot of other teams are a lot more traditional in that particular manner.
Yeah, it's a nice way to kind of utilize your player's strengths in a unique way. And, maybe it's not theoretically optimal or any of this stuff. It's a debate. Oh, does it match up first EG or Undyne or all these players better? I don't know. I just think it's a good way for them to use their players. I think it plays to their players' strengths, and they're drafting for it. So it seems like they are kind of thinking about it, or at least aware of it. And I think it's shown in these last 2 games. I think Moo has put in a lot of work and he seems very comfortable kind of leading the engagements. He's just the first one in.
Roll over. Immediately Jubei dropping that tomb, but Gunner, he's got the BKB. It's a little bit separated from the rest of his team, though. He's going to back off. They're going to reset. I will say that, you know, like we they go immediately for the smoke play. Okay, the fake back.
I mean, no tombstone. No one
This is their
dying.
time.
Tower is under attack.
Gunner going to roll up over to the side. Rises very clearly here. Jump forward immediately from Husky. Look at that damage. Oh, my God. Rises is just immediately taken out of this fight. There is no buyback. Down for 80-something seconds. Do now teleporting out here. Doesn't want to be sticking around.
It's going to be a side of racks.
Radiant's top tower
Maybe 2. Shaggy's going to try and, you know, kill the mid wave, but they can't really cut top at all, so it's likely going to be 2 sides. He does have a Bloodthorn, so they have this Bloodthorn and they also have this Silver Edge, and they can burst this PA if they get both people hitting them at the right time during a spear stun duration or something like that, and then the fight can go their way over the long term, maybe with some buybacks.
Ooh. Immediately the fast fingers over on Dunao, but they can follow up with the stun, and that's a dead Dunao, followed with Overgrowth. Big Sonic Wave hits over onto 3, but it's just not enough damage. They don't have the spend online.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Yep, just can't get jumped
Look
like
at this
that.
Jubei. Oh, Jubei's getting kicked around like he's a soccer ball. Or a football if you're, you know, a European.
Radiant's
But
middle tower is under attack.
Zoomer's just hitting hard, hitting fast, and finding these openings and not hesitating.
Yep. I mean, Mu even has this ice armor. It's even more armor for them to get through. They've done a pretty nice job this game of identifying kind of their timing that they want to hit in terms of their win condition and making sure their side lanes go well enough and setting them up so that they can get off to a good start in order to get their head of the Sven. And that's really been the driving force this entire game. And a lot of these late game fights are factors of the early on decisions. That's kind of the beauty of the game of Dota. Some of these small factors, like putting the tree in top, getting those early kills, getting PA off to an early start. These are the things that set the game up at this point in this state. It's not really, oh, they just out-team fought them or something, right? It's all these little things that build the net worth advantage that make these fights easier. So we're probably going to see, you know, one last desperation smoke fight, something like this. I think the only way they win it is they get some crazy jump on Phantom Assassin. Otherwise, I think she's cleaning them up. But you never know. Maybe you just see her on some Tombstone vision. She's not blurred.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And they
Anything's possible.
They have to lock her down because she now has a Satanic.
Yeah, she also has the Ags, which gives her blur like 100% uptime, right? So they're probably not jumping her, but they could bait someone with a buyback.
I feel like maybe they jump on her and they still don't manage it, honestly. The way that they're playing, the way that they're moving together as a team, it's a very difficult, high-priority target.
It's definitely difficult, but when you're 30,000 gold behind, nothing's easy.
No, indeed it isn't.
I've won worse games, though.
The Doom comes out immediately, the hacks, everything getting used, and they're just going to get rid of Shaggy very, very quickly. Rises up, realizing that he cannot stand toe-to-toe with everyone. This Thunderdome is just terrifying as they'll take down Jubei, they take down Giant, and the GG gets called for Zoomers. They're just looking way too powerful in this game number 3.